Ravi sat alone in the control room of Station 9, his eyes fixed on the wide glass window. The stars stretched out endlessly, tiny lights scattered across the black sky. The moon below looked dead and cold, covered with grey dust. The station floated in silence, except for the soft hum of machines. Ravi liked the night shift. Fewer people walked around, and no one came to bother him. He had one simple job: check the power lines, keep the oxygen flowing, and report any strange readings. But his mind was always somewhere else. Every night, when his work was done, he would sit by the window. He would stare at the distant stars as if they held secrets. Sometimes, he felt they were watching him back. It was a strange feeling, like someone calling his name without sound. Ravi was not a dreamer by choice. He had grown up on Earth in a crowded city, where the only stars he saw were on old pictures. When he joined the space program, he thought life would be exciting. But life on a small station was dull: routine checks, boring meals, and endless silence. Only the window gave him comfort. One evening, as Ravi watched the stars, something unusual caught his eye. A faint flash appeared far from the moon, then disappeared. He rubbed his eyes, thinking it was a reflection. But then it appeared again, a soft, steady blink, like someone turning a light on and off. Ravi leaned closer to the glass. "That's not a star," he whispered to himself. "Stars don't blink like that." He quickly checked the scanners. No ships, no signals. The monitor showed empty space. Yet the blinking light continued, slow and regular. Almost like a pattern. "Maybe just space junk," Ravi muttered, but deep inside he didn't believe it. The next day, during his lunch break, he told Meena and Haru about it. Meena was a communications officer, always serious about her work. Haru was a repair technician, calm and quiet but very clever. "I saw a light," Ravi said. "Out there. Not a star. It blinked in a pattern." Meena frowned. "Probably an old satellite reflecting sunlight. Happens all the time." "But this was at night," Ravi insisted. "No sunlight. And the scanners didn't pick it up." Haru raised an eyebrow. "So you think it's, what? Someone sending a signal?" Ravi shrugged. "I don't know. But I can feel it. Like it's calling me." Meena laughed softly. "You've been staring out that window too long. You need sleep." But Ravi could not forget the light. That night, he skipped his break and kept his eyes on the stars. And there it was again: blink, blink, pause. Blink, blink, pause. The same rhythm as before. He wrote it down. Maybe it was nothing, but maybe it meant something. Days passed. Ravi watched every night, and the blinking continued. Sometimes closer, sometimes farther, but always in the same direction. No one else believed him. The commander of the station dismissed his report immediately. "We have no time for space fairy tales," the commander said firmly. "Focus on your maintenance. Leave scanning to the instruments." But the instruments showed nothing. One night, near the end of his shift, Ravi saw something even stranger. The blinking light suddenly stopped, and a small shadow appeared in the distance. It drifted slowly, like a leaf floating on water. Ravi zoomed in with the station's long-range viewer. His heart skipped a beat. It was not space junk. It was a craft, small, metallic, and damaged. It turned slowly, one side scorched black, like it had been through fire. "No way," Ravi whispered. The craft wasn't moving under its own power. It was just drifting, helpless. Ravi checked again: no signal, no identification, nothing on the scanners. Whoever was inside couldn't call for help. His first thought was to report it to the commander. But then he hesitated. The commander would just order it pushed away or ignored. The station didn't want trouble. They were here to observe the moon, nothing more. Ravi clenched his fists. If he said nothing, whoever was inside would die. The next day, Ravi met Meena and Haru in the storage bay. "I found something," he said in a low voice. "A ship. Drifting out there. No signal." Meena crossed her arms. "If it's hostile, we'll be in danger." "It's damaged," Ravi argued. "If there's someone inside, they need help. We can pull it in quietly. No one has to know." Haru looked thoughtful. "You're serious?" "Yes," Ravi said firmly. "I can't just watch someone die." There was a long silence. Finally, Haru nodded. "If we use the repair arm at night, we can bring it in without triggering alarms." Meena sighed. "This is crazy, but fine. I'll help you. Just this once." That night, as the stars watched silently, the three of them worked in secret. They extended the repair arm toward the drifting craft, slowly pulling it toward an unused docking bay. As the small ship entered the bay, Ravi's heart pounded. He didn't know who or what they were about to meet. But one thing was certain: life on the lonely station was about to change forever. The docking bay lights glowed faintly as Ravi, Meena, and Haru waited near the airlock. The small craft rested on the floor, silent and dark, its metal hull scratched and burned. It looked old, but not like anything Ravi had ever seen. Its shape was smooth, with no visible engines, almost like a drop of water frozen in space. "Are you sure this is safe?" Meena whispered, glancing nervously at the sealed hatch. "No," Ravi admitted. "But it's the right thing to do." Haru checked his tools. "Let's open it slowly. If there's pressure inside, we don't want a sudden burst." With careful hands, they unlocked the hatch. A soft hiss escaped as the door cracked open. Inside was darkness and a faint smell of burnt metal. Ravi switched on his flashlight and climbed in first. The cabin was small, barely enough for one person. Wires hung loose, panels were cracked, and the control screens were dead. In the middle of it all lay a figure. Ravi froze. The figure was humanoid but not human. Its body was slender, covered in pale silver skin that shimmered in the light. The head was slightly larger than a human's, with smooth features and large closed eyes. It breathed weakly, chest rising and falling in slow, shallow motions. "There's someone here," Ravi said quickly. "They're alive." Meena gasped. That's not human." "Help me lift them," Ravi urged. Together, they carried the fragile being out of the ship and laid it gently on a blanket in the corner of the bay. Haru brought an oxygen scanner, but the readings were strange. "They're breathing," Haru murmured, "but not like us. The mix is different, more oxygen than we use." Ravi grabbed a small medical kit. He didn't know if human medicine would help, but he cleaned the burns and placed a cooling patch on the wounds. The being's eyes fluttered slightly, then closed again. "What do we do now?" Meena whispered. "We keep them alive," Ravi said firmly. "No one can know. If the commander finds out, they'll eject the ship or call security. I won't let that happen." They hid the craft in an unused storage section and locked the door. Then they moved the silver-skinned guest to a quiet corner of the bay, covering them with blankets and keeping a small heater nearby. When Ravi checked on them later, the being was awake. Their large eyes opened slowly, deep and clear, reflecting light like calm water. They looked at Ravi with no fear, only curiosity. The being tried to speak, but no words came out, only soft sounds, like wind over glass. "It's okay," Ravi said gently. "You're safe here." The being raised a thin hand and touched its chest, then pointed to Ravi. A simple gesture, as if asking his name. "Ravi," he said, tapping his own chest. "RA6. The being copied the sound, soft, almost musical. Then they touched their own chest and spoke a single word. "Zero." "Zero," Ravi repeated, smiling. "Your name is Zero." Meena and Haru arrived with food and water. Ciro sniffed at the cup of water, then drank slowly. They could not eat the food, but seemed grateful for the offer. Over the next hours, they learned to communicate with simple signs. Ciro would draw shapes in the air with a finger, and Ravi would copy them. One shape looked like a star. Another looked like a circle around it. "They're showing us their home," Meena guessed. At one point, Ciro held up a small device from the wrecked ship. When they pressed a button, a faint blue hologram appeared, a planet with shining oceans and green land. Then the image changed, dark shapes covered the planet like a shadow. The oceans turned grey, the land burned. "They're running from something," Haru said quietly. Ciro pointed at the shadow and shook their head, then pointed at themselves and made a motion like fleeing. Finally, they pointed to the stars beyond the window and then to Ravi. "They came here for help," Ravi whispered. That night, while Meena and Haru slept, Ravi stayed by Ciro's side. The alien closed their eyes, but their hand rested against Ravi's wrist as if to say thank you. Ravi stared out the bay window at the distant stars. The blinking light pattern had stopped. But something else appeared on the scanner, faint energy readings far from the moon, moving fast. Ravi didn't report it. He already knew what it meant. Someone or something was looking for Ciro. The days that followed felt unreal for Ravi. Every free moment, he slipped into the hidden storage bay where Ciro rested. The small space smelled faintly of oil and metal, but Ravi had cleared a spot, adding blankets and a portable heater. Ciro seemed stronger now, though still weak, moving with slow, graceful motions. Meena brought nutrient packs from the medical store, not perfect, but Ciro accepted them. Haru fixed a cracked power cell so they could keep Ciro's small device working. The blue hologram of Ciro's home appeared often, and each time Ravi watched, he felt a quiet sadness in Ciro's eyes. "You really miss your world, don't you?" Ravi said softly. Ciro tilted their head as if trying to understand, then drew a circle in the air with one finger and placed their hand over their heart. Ravi understood, home is in the heart. They developed a language of simple signs and gestures. When Ciro wanted water, they tapped two fingers together. When they wanted Ravi to listen, they would touch their forehead and point to his. Sometimes Ravi felt more than just signs, a faint sense of Ciro's feelings, like a whisper at the edge of thought. "Do you understand me?" Ravi asked one evening. Ciro nodded slowly. Their large eyes seemed to look right through him, calm and steady. Meena, though still cautious, had started to smile whenever Ciro tried to mimic human words. Haru stayed quiet but worked tirelessly, fixing broken parts from Ciro's craft with human tools. "This ship is strange," he muttered once. "No engines like ours. More like it glides on, something invisible." But danger crept closer. The faint energy readings Ravi had noticed were getting stronger. He told Meena and Haru, but not the commander. "If they know Ciro's here, they'll hand them over without asking why," Ravi warned. Late one night, Ciro woke suddenly, eyes wide with fear. They grabbed Ravi's hand and pointed sharply to the window. Outside, far beyond the moon, a distant object glimmered, not blinking like Ciro's signal, but moving steady and fast. "Someone's searching for you," Ravi whispered. Ciro nodded and pressed their hands together, then spread them apart, a sign Ravi had learned meant danger. Over the next day, Ravi, Meena, and Haru worked quickly. They moved Ciro's damaged craft to a corner of the bay and covered it with metal panels. Haru rerouted a power line to keep the craft's systems hidden from station sensors. Meena adjusted the station's communication logs to erase any strange readings. "We're risking everything," Meena said grimly. "They'd risk it for us," Ravi replied, glancing at Ciro. "I can feel it." One evening, as the station slept, Ciro showed them another hologram. This time it was not a peaceful planet. It was a massive, cold machine, dark metal, sharp edges, glowing eyes like red fire. Smaller images showed entire worlds broken apart, cities crumbling under beams of light. Zero pointed to the machine image, then drew an X in the air. Enemy. They touched their chest, then motioned as if running away. Finally, they pointed at Ravi and placed both hands over their heart. They're saying they trust us, Meena murmured. But this enemy, Haru's face was pale. If it finds us, it won't just take Zero. It'll destroy the station. Ravi clenched his fists. Then we make sure it doesn't find Zero. That night, they worked in total silence. Using the station's repair drones, Haru moved old space junk into the open, scattering debris to create false heat signatures. Meena adjusted the station's external sensors to broadcast fake readings. Ravi made sure no one noticed the power drain from Zero's corner of the bay. When Zero saw what they were doing, their eyes glistened. They touched Ravi's shoulder and pressed their forehead gently against his, a sign of deep thanks. The next shift, Ravi noticed the object outside had slowed down. Whoever was searching knew something was near. But thanks to their work, the station looked empty and unimportant. Still, tension filled the air. Every sound made Ravi jump. Every message from the commander felt like it might be the end. Late at night, as Ravi sat by the window again, Zero joined him, moving weakly but determined. They looked out together at the endless stars. Zero traced a pattern on the glass with a finger, 3 dots, then a line. Ravi recognized it as the same blinking signal he'd seen before. You were calling for help, Ravi said. That's how I found you. Zero smiled faintly and touched the window, as if remembering. Then they pointed to the stars again, making a small circle, the sign for home, and finally touched Ravi's chest. You think Earth can be your home? Ravi asked, surprised. Zero didn't answer with words. They simply smiled again, a soft, peaceful smile that made Ravi forget for a moment about the danger outside. But deep in space, far beyond the moon, a hunter ship slowed its engines and scanned the darkness. It was patient, cold, and relentless. It didn't know exactly where its prey was yet, but it would not leave without finding Zero. The next few days on Station 9 were tense. Ravi barely slept. He kept checking the scanners when no one was watching. Each time, the mysterious energy readings grew stronger, moving closer to the moon. Meena noticed too, though she tried to hide her worry. Haru worked quietly, preparing tools as if expecting trouble. Zero sensed it as well. Their calm eyes would suddenly fill with fear whenever the scanner beeped faintly. They stayed near Ravi, watching the stars through the bay window, as if expecting the darkness to open and swallow them. One evening, while Ravi was checking the power lines, the commander's voice came sharply over the station speaker. All crew, report to Central Control immediately. We have an unknown vessel entering range. Ravi's heart pounded. He rushed to Control, where the large screen showed a dark shape moving toward the moon. It was massive, far bigger than Station 9. Its surface had no windows, no markings, just smooth black metal glowing faintly red at the edges. Is it sending any signal? Meena asked, pretending to sound calm. None, the commander said grimly. No ID, no response. We're running scans, but its systems are far beyond anything we know. Ravi stayed silent. He didn't dare look at Meena or Haru. They all knew what it was. The commander ordered everyone to stay inside and avoid transmitting any signal. We don't know if it's hostile, but until we do, the station is invisible. Keep it that way. That night, Ravi slipped away to the storage bay. Zero was waiting, their silver skin dim under the heater's glow. They grabbed Ravi's hand and pointed to the scanner readings he'd brought. Their gesture was clear, Hunter. This thing, it's after you, isn't it? Ravi whispered. Zero nodded. They drew a shape in the air, a triangle with sharp points, then made a cutting motion with their hand. Ravi understood, it destroys. Meena and Haru arrived, pale-faced from the commander's briefing. We can't hide Zero much longer, Meena said softly. If that ship gets closer, the commander will start scanning every section of the station. They can't find Zero, Ravi said firmly. If they do, they'll hand them over. Haru rubbed his chin. We need to hide the craft somewhere outside the station. If the hunter scans us, there can't be any trace. That night, the three worked again in silence. Using remote controls, Haru moved repair drones to carry old junk panels and station waste into space. They guided Zero's damaged craft out through a service hatch, hiding it among the floating debris. Mina scrambled the station's heat readings so the craft appeared as nothing more than cold metal trash. Zero watched them work, their eyes full of gratitude. When Ravi returned, exhausted, Zero pressed their forehead against his again, a quiet sign of trust. By morning, the hunter ship had stopped outside scanner range. It just sat there in the darkness, silent and patient, like a predator waiting for its prey to move. The commander ordered full lockdown. No signals. No external activity. Stay inside until we know what it wants. But Ravi already knew. That evening, Zero showed them a new hologram. It was the same dark ship, only this time Zero pointed at it and then drew two shapes in the air, one large and one small colliding. Then they made an explosion motion. They're saying it destroys anything that helps them, Mina said quietly. And it thinks weakness should be erased, Haru added. It doesn't just hunt Zero's kind. It hunts anyone who tries to protect them. Ravi clenched his fists. Then we make it believe we're not worth noticing. Humans aren't weak. We're clever. If we hide well enough, it won't even know Zero's here. For 2 days, they kept the station running as if nothing was wrong. Ravi acted normal around the commander, reporting power levels and air filters as usual. Mina erased any signs of extra power use from the logs. Haru made sure the service hatch where Zero's craft had been launched looked untouched. On the third day, the hunter moved. It glided silently closer, scanning the moon and the space around it. A deep hum echoed through the station as the scanners passed over them. The lights flickered. Ravi held his breath, standing at his station. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. The hunter continued drifting, then moved to scan another part of space. They didn't see us, Mina whispered to Ravi later. But Zero wasn't calm. They pointed sharply at the stars again, then tapped Ravi's wrist in warning. It will return. Late that night, Ravi stood by the window, staring at the distant red glow of the hunter ship. He could feel it out there, patient, calculating. It was not fooled yet. This isn't over, Ravi murmured. But if you think we'll give you up, you're wrong. Inside the storage bay, Zero rested, trusting him completely. Outside, the hunter watched and waited, preparing to strike again. The hunter ship stayed near the moon for 3 long days. It did not speak, did not signal, and did not leave. The commander of Station 9 grew more nervous with every hour. Security teams were ordered to check every section of the station, scanning for any unusual activity. Ravi stayed calm on the outside, but his heart was racing. If the commander searched the storage bay carefully, they might notice something strange: the heater, the extra power lines, even a faint trace of oxygen use. We need to be ready, Ravi told Mina and Haru in a whisper. If they find Zero, they'll hand them over to save the station. Mina's jaw tightened. Then we make sure no one finds them. We just need to confuse the scanners. Haru nodded. And confuse that hunter ship too. If it can't get clean readings, maybe it will leave. That night, the 3 friends worked again in silence. They began planting false signals around the station, small heat sources made from old power cells, hidden in empty maintenance tunnels. Mina adjusted the internal sensors so the readings looked normal. Haru used drones to scatter more space junk outside, creating a cloud of floating debris. This way, Haru explained, if the hunter scans the area, it will see hundreds of little heat spots. It won't know what's real. Ravi smiled faintly. That's the human way: we don't fight stronger enemies head on. We confuse them. Ciro watched them work with shining eyes. They seemed amazed that humans could turn broken tools and trash into protection. When Ravi returned from setting up another decoy, Ciro pressed their thin hand against his chest, a gesture of deep thanks. The next morning, the hunter ship moved closer. Its red glow bathed the station walls as it scanned everything again. A low vibration passed through the floor. The lights flickered as the massive sensors swept over them. Inside the control room, Ravi stood at his post, trying not to show fear. Meena worked quietly at her console, pretending to check communications. Haru stayed near the maintenance bay in case something went wrong. On the main screen, the commander frowned. It's scanners, they're reading strange interference. Heat spikes all over the place. I can't make sense of this. Ravi kept his face blank. Maybe it's just solar activity, he suggested. The moon's surface sometimes throws off readings. The commander shook his head but gave no orders. If the hunter ship could not find what it wanted, maybe it would leave. But the ship did not leave. Instead, it released several drones, small black spheres that glided toward the station. They scanned every surface carefully. Stay calm, Meena whispered under her breath. The drones moved over the hull, checking every panel, every hatch. Then they turned to the cloud of space junk Haru had released. The drones scanned piece after piece, trying to find anything alive. But the heat signals confused them. One drone chased a false reading to a floating metal panel, scanning it for minutes before moving on. In the hidden storage bay, Ciro waited silently, their eyes wide. Ravi stayed with them, listening to the faint hum of the scanners passing overhead. After 2 hours, the drones returned to the hunter ship. On the control screen, the commander sighed with relief. Looks like they didn't find anything. But Ravi knew this was only the beginning. That night, when the station was quiet, Meena, Haru, and Ravi met again. We can't do this forever, Meena said. If that ship stays here for weeks, we'll run out of tricks. Then we need to make them think there's nothing here at all, Ravi replied. Not just hide Ciro, hide us. They built a bigger decoy. Using spare repair drones, Haru created a fake power leak far from the station, releasing bursts of heat and light that looked like damaged equipment. Meena sent out a false distress signal from the same area, but timed it carefully so it looked accidental. When the hunter ship scanned again, it detected the fake signal and sent its drones to investigate. The drones found nothing, just drifting junk. But they stayed focused on the wrong spot, far away from the station. Ciro saw all of this and smiled faintly. They drew a symbol on the floor with a finger, 3 curved lines meeting in the center. Ravi didn't know what it meant, but he felt its meaning: clever, unexpected, alive. On the third night, the hunter ship finally moved. Slowly, silently, it pulled away from the moon. Its red glow faded into the blackness of space. The commander celebrated. Looks like we're safe. Whoever that was, they're gone. But Ravi didn't cheer. He knew better. As he looked out the window, he saw one last faint glimmer, not leaving, just waiting farther away. They'll be back, Ravi whispered to Ciro later. But when they come, they'll learn what it means to face humans. We don't give up our friends. Ciro placed their hand on Ravi's shoulder and nodded, their silver eyes calm but filled with trust. Humanity had bought time, but the real test was still ahead. The night was cold, and the city outside Lien's window looked silent, almost lifeless. But deep inside the alien tower, nothing was calm. Lien stood with Myra and Tomas in a wide hall filled with bright silver light. The alien leader, known as Kale, floated above the floor, his long shape moving like smoke. His glowing eyes fixed on them. You have something we need, Kale said, his voice calm but sharp. Give it freely, and we will spare your people. Lien stepped forward. What is it you want? Your will, Kale replied. Humans have a strange fire. You resist, even when logic says you should bow. We have studied many worlds. Yours is different. We need that spark. Myra clenched her fists. You can't take wool. It isn't a thing you can steal. Kale's voice deepened. Then we will break you until you give it to us. Suddenly, walls shifted. Long crystal blades formed from the silver light, blocking every path. Dozens of alien drones dropped from the ceiling, moving like insects. Tomas whispered, "We're trapped." But Lien shook his head. Not yet. He remembered the window back at his small room on Earth, the window he stared through every night, dreaming of freedom. The same desire now burned in his chest. He turned to Kale. You think humans are weak because we feel fear, Lien said. But fear is not weakness. It's why we fight. Kale tilted his head. Interesting words. Worthless without proof. The drones attacked. Silver beams shot across the hall. Myra grabbed a fallen drone and swung it like a shield. Tomas hacked at another with a metal rod he'd taken from the floor. Lien dashed forward, slipping under a beam, and reached the tower's central control crystal. A strange energy pulsed inside it, almost alive. He placed his hands on it. A wave of thoughts crashed into his mind: alien maps, strange numbers, whispers of other worlds conquered. But he also saw something else, a weakness. The crystal wasn't just a machine. It felt emotions, faint but real. Lien spoke softly to it. You're trapped too, aren't you? Forced to serve them. The crystal's light flickered. Kale noticed. Step away, human. But Lien pressed harder, not with strength, but with desire. I don't want to rule you. I don't want to break you. I just want to be free, and you do too. The crystal glowed bright gold. Drones froze mid-air. Myra and Tomas stared in shock as the entire hall shook. Kale roared, "Stop! You don't understand what you are touching." But Lien did understand, not with his head, but with his heart. Humans didn't win because of stronger weapons. They won because they believed in something worth fighting for, even when hope was small. The crystal responded to that belief. A wave of energy burst from it, sweeping through the tower. Alien walls cracked. Drones fell lifeless to the floor. Kale lunged at Lien, his smoky form twisting into sharp edges. But Myra leapt between them, blocking Kale with the broken drone shield. Tomas grabbed Lien and pulled him back. Now, Lien! Tomas shouted. Lien sent one last thought into the crystal: be free. The tower exploded with light. Windows shattered across the city. For a moment, everything was silent, then the alien structure began to collapse. The three friends ran through the falling corridors, jumping over broken floors and glowing fragments. When they finally burst outside, the night sky burned with silver dust as the tower melted like ice under the sun. Kale's voice echoed faintly. This is not the end, human. Desire is dangerous, even to you. Then he was gone, his smoky form torn apart by the collapsing energy. Lien, Myra, and Tomas stood in the cold street, breathing hard, watching the tower fall. The city lights returned one by one, and far in the distance, they heard cheers from people who had seen the strange glow in the sky. Myra looked at Lien. What did you do back there? I didn't fight, Lien said quietly. I just showed it what we are. And what are we? Tomas asked. Lien stared at the stars, his heart still racing. We're humans. We dream of freedom, even when no one believes we can have it. The night wind brushed against them, gentle but strong. For the first time in days, Lien felt hope. But he also knew this wasn't over. Kale's warning still echoed in his ears. Somewhere beyond the stars, others would come. And next time, they might not underestimate humanity. The evening sky over Riverstone was painted orange and gold. Myra sat by her small window, looking at the glass tower where the strange light had first appeared months ago. Her heart was steady, but her mind was filled with questions. She had no clear proof of what had happened, but deep inside, she knew her world was not alone. 2 days ago, the strange machine in the tower had stopped working. The blue glow vanished as if it had never been there. People whispered that it was only a trick of light, some problem with city power lines, or a simple hoax. But Myra, Aaron, and Tom knew better. They had seen the signal beam, heard the coded pulses, and watched the shadowy figure leave with the machine at night. Today, Myra had promised herself she would not just watch from the window. She would take action. Humanity had done something incredible, they had answered a call from beyond. Even if no one believed it, the truth remained. Tom arrived first, carrying his old notebook. "The patterns are still there," he said. "Even after the machine stopped, I picked up faint signals on my radio." Aaron followed, calm as always, with a heavy backpack. "We can't let them think humans ignore them. If they came once, they'll come again. We must send something back." Myra smiled faintly. "Then we send our own light." They climbed to the top of the abandoned glass tower one last time. The city was quiet below, the wind soft against their faces. Aaron pulled a small metal device from his bag, one they had built using spare parts, wires, and Myra's father's old generator. Tom checked the settings carefully. "This won't reach the stars," he said, "but it will reach orbit. If they're still listening, they'll hear us." Myra stood by the window frame of the tower, looking out at the horizon. "What should the message say?" she asked softly. Tom thought for a moment. "It should say who we are. Not names, not numbers. Just, what it means to be human." Aaron nodded. "A light that says, 'We see you, we're ready.'" The generator hummed to life. The beam of white light shot into the night sky, steady and strong. It was not as bright as the alien machine, but it was enough. Myra imagined it breaking through the clouds, shining past the thin veil of Earth's atmosphere, a small spark in the endless dark. Minutes passed. Then hours. The three of them stayed at the tower, waiting. The wind grew colder. Tom tapped his notebook nervously. Aaron kept adjusting the beam, making sure it stayed focused. Myra sat on the floor, staring upward, refusing to blink. At midnight, something happened. A tiny glimmer appeared high above, like a distant star blinking once. Then again. Then a third time. It was faint, almost invisible, but it pulsed in a perfect rhythm, the same rhythm they had first received from the machine. "They heard us," Tom whispered. His voice shook. "They heard us." Aaron grinned for the first time in days. "We're not alone. They wanted to know if humans could respond, and we just did." The glimmer faded as quickly as it came. There was no ship, no voice, no message in words. But the three friends understood, the visitors were still out there, watching, listening, waiting for humanity to grow strong enough to meet them face to face. The generator ran out of power, and the beam died. The tower returned to darkness. But none of them were sad. Myra looked at her friends and felt proud. "This isn't the end," she said. "It's only the first hello." Over the next days, life in Riverstone went back to normal. People forgot the strange glow in the tower. No one believed Myra when she tried to tell them. But she didn't mind. She knew the truth, and that was enough. Each night, she sat by her window again. Sometimes she thought she saw a faint blink of light far above. Maybe it was just a star. Maybe not. But she whispered the same words each time: "We're here. We're waiting. And we're ready."